those 6-punch combinations, he has to make sure, I'm talking Jake Paul, make sure that he's not in the way of those punches because Tyson's a real fighter.
What's up, fight fans? Lennox Lewis, one of the greatest heavyweight champions of all time. An undisputed champ, Olympic gold medalist, and the man who handed Mike Tyson one of his most devastating losses, has given Jake Paul some advice of what things he should consider watching out for when fighting the beast Mike Tyson.
We thought it'd be an exhibition, but it's going to be a real fight. You know this man well. Mike Tyson, he's fighting Jake Paul. What are your expectations for that big fight in Dallas, Texas?
I think it's going to be a good fight. I mean, Mike Tyson, what he does is two-dimensional. He's going to come at you, trying to knock you out. You got to try and stay away from him. Stay away from his power. I seen him working out the other day, and he throws some good combinations. So those 6-punch combinations, he has to make sure, I'm talking Jake Paul, make sure that he's not in the way of those punches because Tyson's a real fighter.
You saw him working out the other day. He's 57 years young. He still got it. He still got it in his eyes. He still got it in the body.
Oh, yeah. No, Tyson can throw a punch. He can take a punch. So, he's doing something that he's used to.
Here, Lewis preaches the gospel of staying safe. Tyson, even at his age, is a walking highlight reel of devastating knockouts. Paul can't afford to get caught flush with a single punch. This isn't about trading blows, it's about making Tyson miss and creating opportunities for Paul to counter. Jake should also use his youth, size, and reach advantage. He needs to use his jab relentlessly, keeping a prime Mike Tyson at arm's length and constantly disrupt Tyson's attempts to close the distance. This is a battle of strategy, not brute force. Paul can't fall into the trap of brawling with a brawler. He needs to fight smart, using his superior range and footwork to outmaneuver the aging legend, another former opponent of Mike Tyson. Roy Jones Jr. appeared in an interview and was asked his opinion on the Paul versus Tyson fight. Jones Jr. hesitantly said, "It's going to be tough to see if he can survive those first 3 rounds. But if Jake does, he may have a chance. But I don't know if he can. We will have to see. That's why we are watching the fight." Jones Jr. was the last to face Mike Tyson in an exhibition back in 2020, meaning Tyson has been out of the ring for the last 4 years. Here's where things get really interesting in comparison to the Roy Jones Jr. fight. This bout is now set to be a professional fight, which will go on both fighters' records. The initial buzz, however, was that Paul versus Tyson was going to be an exhibition. Reduced rounds, no official decision, a spectacle more than a serious bout. Think of it as a safe way for both men to make a lot of money. But recent reports have confirmed that the fight will in fact be a real pro fight. Daily Loud tweeted, "Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson on July 20th in Texas is now officially sanctioned as a professional fight, and the result will go on both men's official pro boxing records." With Mike's response, "I wasn't joking when I said this would be a real fight. See you in July at Jake Paul." Yes, it's a real sanctioned fight with at Jake Paul. Ronnie Shields, Mike Tyson's former coach, appeared in an interview giving his conclusion on this fascinating bout. Now it's a confirmed sanctioned pro fight, and actually had a very bold prediction, saying he thinks Tyson will KO Paul. Ronnie Shields said, "It could go 2 ways. Mike knows the sport, he's been in it his whole life, so he knows how to pace himself to go 8 2-minute rounds, whereas Jake hasn't been in that position yet against a fighter like Tyson before. So, I think the pressure is going to be more on Jake Paul. So, I think Mike will win absolutely. I think Mike will knock him out. Absolutely." The rounds are shorter, but the weight is fascinatingly bigger. With the fight being at heavyweight, Jake Paul is set to weight in around 240 pounds for the fight. Jake Paul has actually recently responded to the 230 pounds rumor that spread across social media. Fans had stated that Jake looked huge for this upcoming fight against Tyson.
How did it get out that you were 230?
I went to a private event and Shane Mosley was there, and I was just having a private conversation with him, and he put it on a podcast. It's weird to me that I'm weighing 230. But since this was, noodling after my last fight, I'm just getting to eat as much as possible. And it turns out my body can carries this weight super well. And I'm only growing, I think I'll get up to 240 and then probably cut down. So I'm way faster. If I'm training for this camp at 240 and I cut down to 220, it's basically like I had a 20-pound weight vest on for the whole entire camp. So my muscles are going to be like so much stronger, and that speed will come through.
This is going to be a very interesting factor in the fight. Jake has never fought at this weight before. His last creditable opponent was Tommy Fury, in which he fought at 185 lbs. This is a massive jump up in weight for Paul, and surely is going to affect him in the fight. The stamina needed is going to be massive. Even though the rounds are only 2 minutes, he will be carrying an extra 50 pounds more or less, and this time against an old warrior, a beast in Mike Tyson. MVP updates. Just heard Jake Paul confirm that he's 230 lbs. Nobody talks about this, but it's going to be interesting as he gets into harder fights to see how his volume and cardio is at this current weight. Don't forget, Danny Smith was trying to get him to 175 lbs just a year ago. Big change. Now it's been confirmed a fully sanctioned fight, the danger factor for Paul skyrockets. In an exhibition, knockouts are generally avoided, with a focus on showcasing skills. But a professional fight throws that safety net out the window. Paul will now be facing a prime Mike Tyson, a man who built his legacy on leaving opponents unconscious. One clean punch could end the fight and potentially derail Paul's career. The pressure to avoid a devastating knockout becomes immense, adding a whole new layer of risk to this already unpredictable matchup. In the boxing world, a win in a real fight carries a weight an exhibition win never could. If Paul pulls off the unthinkable, it would silence many of his critics and lend huge credibility to his boxing journey. However, the flip side is equally true. A loss, especially a brutal knockout at the hands of a legend, could be a serious setback, damaging his reputation and making future high-profile bouts less likely, especially against an older opponent like Tyson. Someone who wasn't pleased about Jake taking a step back from his journey to become world champion was Tommy Fury. Tommy has previously beaten Jake Paul before and had this to say in a recent interview.
For yourself, he put out a tweet saying that you've sort of fumbled it now and the next opportunity comes after Mike Tyson, it'll be for half the money. What did you make of that?
Oh, listen, mate, I don't need him for nothing. At the end of the day, he's the one who lost. He's got the big fat L on the record, and I'm undefeated still. But listen, he talks a lot of crap, Jake Paul. It is what it is. But listen, I'm happy. I'm recovering from the surgery, and all that video I posted the other day I just wanted to knock him out this time, because I'm really not happy with the first performance I did. So I just want to get back in there and knock him out good and proper this time. But listen, it's on my terms now. No matter who he is or what he says, it's on my terms. I won, so, hopefully things can get in the move.
Could Jake Paul fight Tommy Fury again after this bout against Tyson? Is this a fight you fans want to see for the second time? Let us know in the comments. Going back to Lennox Lewis. Lennox had previously given Jake a warning when stepping in against the legend Mike Tyson.
Looking forward to the Tyson fight with Jake Paul.
Absolutely. It's going to be a great fight. I'm looking forward to it.
Do you wish it was a sanctioned fight and not an exhibition like it's going to be?
No, because I would feel really bad for Jake Paul. I don't want him to get hurt.
Lewis addressing that, he doesn't want Jake Paul to get hurt, which is something Mike Tyson does to most of his opponents. Paul's biggest advantage is his age and athleticism. He's in his physical prime, compared to the aging Tyson. This fight is his to lose if he can use his stamina to his advantage. He has to push the pace, force Tyson to work, and tire him out over the course of the fight. Size and reach. Paul is a taller fighter with a longer reach than Tyson. This means his jab needs to be his primary weapon. He has to use that jab to dictate the pace, keep Tyson on the outside, and prevent those powerful hooks from landing. The X factor. Jake Paul is unpredictable. Sure, he's inexperienced compared to a legend like Tyson, but he often throws caution to the wind. This unorthodox, sometimes reckless style has gotten him into trouble, but it's also led to surprising results. There's always a chance he could pull something out of left field that throws Tyson off his game. Tyson's perspective. It's easy to focus on Paul's side of this story, but let's not forget Iron Mike. While older, Tyson is still a force to be reckoned with. Those knockout highlights we see aren't all ancient history. He has raw power Jake Paul hasn't faced before. Tyson's legacy is built on more than just his punches. His mental game was legendary. He thrives on aggressive forward pressure and instilling a sense of fear in his opponents. If Paul lets Tyson dictate the psychological battle from the opening bell, it could be disastrous. He needs to stay composed and not allow himself to be rattled, or it could be a very short night. This is something Jake needs to look out for. However, Paul does not seem to be worried, especially with this brutal warning he gave to Mike on his recent podcast, BS with Jake Paul.
I just want to make it clear that Mike Tyson was the one who wanted it to be a pro fight. Mike got into training camp, called up people on my team, and we're like, let's do a pro fight. Is Jake down? Netflix was like, let's make it a pro fight. We're down. And I said to Nikisa, if that's what Mike wants, then that's fine. But make sure you tell Mike there's no holding back. Whatever happens, happens. And this is war now. And if Mike's okay with that, then I'm okay with that. But I want Mike to be the one making this decision because I respect him as the legend. And if he puts me down, I can deal with that. But if I put him down, he needs to be the one making the decision on whether or not he can deal with that. But yes, I'm going in there. Now it's a pro fight. It's on my record, and I'm going to put him down.
Jake revealing his goal is to put down Mike Tyson, which really would shock the world. However, let's not forget, even at his age, Mike Tyson is a walking highlight reel of devastating knockouts. 100 times more so than Jake Paul. His power transcends eras. One clean punch, one lapse in concentration on Paul's part, and it's over. This isn't a fight where Paul can afford to get reckless or take unnecessary risks. He needs to be calculated, precise, and constantly aware that one mistake could leave him flat on the canvas. Tyson doesn't seem like he's just fighting for a paycheck. This is about his pride, about reminding the world that he's still Iron Mike. His legacy as one of the most fearsome boxers in history is at stake. Expect him to come in with a ferocity that belies his age, looking to prove that he can still dominate and silence his critics. 2 press conferences have been announced to build the fight up even more. Netflix tweeted, "Get ready. Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, Katie Taylor, and Amanda Serrano will meet face-to-face for 2 kickoff press conferences on May 13th in New York City and May 16th in Arlington, Texas. Both conferences will stream live right here and on Netflix and MVP's YouTube channels. And, let's face it, half the joy of a Jake Paul fight is the insane build-up. But what will he do this time?
I'm a little bit torn. My approach to these press conferences and for just the sale of the fight. The main thing is, man, is I've like put on this character of like being brash and cocky and all of these things, and drawn a lot of like hate for that. And I could easily go the villain and the bad guy. I think it's fun. I love doing it. I'm great at it. I thought it would be really funny if I just like got up there and was just like just fully myself. It would be funny if I just got up there and like when they're asking me questions, like I'm just like, yeah, like I don't know, I'm just a kid from Ohio. I literally just like worked hard.
I kind of like that.
And then they're just like, oh, okay, what do you think's gonna happen? I'm just like, well, I don't know what's gonna happen because it's a fight. Obviously, I don't know. And then they're just like, okay, like, well, are you scared to fight him? Like, are you scared? I'm just like, yeah. Nah, yeah, that, I guess even just, like, speaking it out loud, these were, like, internal thoughts that I was having. But, yeah, just speaking it out loud, as soon as I started saying that, I was like, nah, there's no way I could do that.
The conferences are, of course, going to be pure entertainment. Tyson isn't one to hold back with the verbal jabs. Remember his fiery stare down with Lennox Lewis? That intensity hasn't faded. Paul, on the other hand, thrives on getting under his opponent's skin, and it's obvious he's not going to be himself, and most likely play the villain. His internet personality translates perfectly to these face-offs too, where he'll likely unleash a barrage of playful taunts laced with social media jabs. We can expect the crowd to be electric, feeding off the energy of these 2 contrasting personalities. This pre-fight war of words might even overshadow the fight itself. Whether it's Tyson's booming pronouncements of knockout or Paul's witty one-liners that go viral, the lead-up to this fight promises fireworks that will have fight fans buzzing for weeks. Paul will undoubtedly play up the "no one believes in me" narrative, fueling his fan base. He'll paint himself as the scrappy challenger taking on an impossible legend, a David versus Goliath scenario. Paul thrives on defying expectations and proving his critics wrong, and this fight presents the ultimate platform for it. His legions of followers, drawn to his audacious persona, will rally behind his underdog status, amplifying the fight's buzz and propelling him to even greater heights of popularity, win or lose. This fight is tailor-made for the viral meme era. Expect the outlandish soundbites to be everywhere. Tyson's quotable bravado and Paul's knack for instigation guarantee a treasure trove of meme-worthy moments. These clips will flood platforms like TikTok and Instagram, fueling the hype machine for weeks on end. The pre-fight antics alone could overshadow the actual boxing, creating a spectacle that transcends traditional sports boundaries and becomes a full-blown pop culture phenomenon. Love him or hate him, Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson is guaranteed to be one of the most talked about sporting events of the year. This fight transcends the realm of traditional boxing, sparking debates that fire up both casual and hardcore fans. Purists might scoff at the unconventional matchup, but the intrigue is undeniable. Can a YouTube star with a background in online challenges land a lucky punch and rewrite his narrative? Or will the iron will and raw power of a heavyweight legend silence the doubters and prove he's still a force to be reckoned with? The sheer unpredictability of it all is what makes this clash so damn compelling. What do you all think about this thrilling fight? Will Paul do the unthinkable and conquer Iron Mike? Or can Mike silence the YouTube from Ohio? Let me know your thoughts on the fight, and make sure to subscribe for future updates. Until next time.